Hello guys, in this video we are going to discuss the solution of the problem subarray with zero sum. So let us look at the problem statement. The problem statement says that we are given an array of integers. Find if there is a subarray of size at least 1. So our task is to find if there is a subarray with zero sum. Okay, and we just need to return 0 or true or false in this case. So let us understand the problem statement a bit more. So here an array is given to us. So let us say the array which is given to us is basically contains these elements 4, 2, -3, 1 and 6. So clearly here if we take this particular subarray, so if we take these subarray, the sum is 0 here, right? So the sum of this subarray is 2 plus -3 plus 1, and this is equals to 0. So since there exists a subarray whose sum is 0, thereby we will return true in this particular case. All right, let's take another example. So let us say in this particular case the array contains element like 1, 2, 3 and 4. So clearly there isn't exist any subarray for which the sum is 0, thereby we are going to return false for this particular case. Okay, so that's about the problem statement. Now let us look at the solution for it. So let's first discuss the brute force solution for this. So let us discuss the brute force. So in the brute force solution, the thing is pretty simple. What we are going to do is basically, so let's take our example. So 4, 2, -3, 1 and 6. In this example, the brute force solution, basically what we will do is we will first generate all possible subarrays. All right, generate all possible subarrays. Okay, and then what we are going to do is basically we are going to compute sum of all subarrays. Okay, now if there exists a subarray whose sum is 0, right? Subarray whose sum is 0, then we are going to return true, then return true, otherwise false, else false. Okay, so that's the brute force solution for it. Now I hope the brute force solution is pretty simple and we are able to follow the logic, but let us analyze the running time complexity. The running time complexity of the brute force solution will be governed by this particular step. And what is the time it takes to generate all possible subarray? Well, the time it will take is order of n squared. Okay, thereby the running time complexity of this brute force solution is order of n squared, and the auxiliary space which we are using here is order of 1. There isn't exist there, we are not using any auxiliary space here. That is why a constant auxiliary space. So that's about the brute force solution. Now let us look into the optimal solution for this. So the optimal solution for this problem relies on using an auxiliary space. So let us see how we are going to use it. So let's again take the same example. So in our example, it contains 4, 2, -1, 3 and 6. So let's see how we are going. So what we are going to do is basically we are going to create a dictionary, and this is the auxiliary space we are talking about. We are going to create a dictionary which holds all the sum we have observed so far. Okay, and this dictionary will hold all the sum we have observed so far. Okay, observed so far. All right, so let us see how we are going to do it. So we'll start from here. Okay, so right now the sum is 0. We are at index 0. Now it contains 4, so we are going to update it by 4. And dictionary, right now the dictionary is null. Let's say the dictionary is represented by this. So the dictionary does not contain any elements, so what we are going to do is we are going to add 4 to it, and let's say we are just calling it as true. We have occurred 4 here. Before making an entry into the dictionary, what we are going to do is basically we are going to check if S exists in dictionary. Okay, so we are going to check if S exists in dictionary. Before making the entry of sum in the dictionary, we are going to check if S exists in dictionary, or S is equals to 0, or element, or let me just write it down as A of I, right? So A represents this array and I is the index, so A of I equals to 0. If any of these conditions are met, what we are going to do, we are going to return true. If not, and I'll explain how does this work, and if not, what we are going to do is basically else we will add S in dictionary DP. Okay, we are going to add S in dictionary DP if the first condition is not satisfied. And after iterating through all the loop, if we are not able to return true, then what we are going to do is that we are going to return false. Okay, so now let us see how this solution works. Okay, so I hope these two cases are pretty clear. This and this is self-explanatory, right? If there exists an element which is 0, then in that case there exists a subarray with sum as 0, so we are going to return that. So this is about this particular case. In the second case, if the sum so far is 0, then we are able to obtain a subarray whose sum is 0, so we are going to return 0 to it. Now let us look at this particular case, and this requires a bit of understanding. Check if S exists in dictionary. And why if S exists in dictionary, then we are confident that there exists a subarray whose sum is 0, and thereby we are returning true. Why is it so? So in order to understand that, let us assume, or let's take our array, and let us say this array contains an element. Okay, this array contains an element, and let us say so far till here the sum is S, right? So for the sum is S here. All right, so at ith index sum is S. All right, now we went to I plus 1th index. Okay, now at I plus 1th index, let us say there exists an A element, so the sum becomes S plus A, right? Similarly, I plus 2th index. Okay, here there exists another element B, so the sum becomes B, right? Let us say that at I plus 3th index there exists a minus C element, right? A negative element. So in that particular case, this becomes A plus B and minus C. So let me just write it down as plus A plus B minus C, right? And let us say at I plus 4th index, there exists an element, right? And let us say a negative element, because of which this sum becomes S again, right? So what I'm trying to say here is basically at ith index the sum was s, and I plus 4th index the sum is again s. So if this is again s, then what should be the sum of all these? What should be the sum of these three indexes, right? It has to be 0, right? If only these are 0, then only the ith plus 4th index becomes s, and that is why this is, in that particular case, I plus 1 till I plus 3rd is the subarray whose sum is 0, and that is why we are returning true here. Okay, that is why in this particular case also we are returning true. So if that is not clear, let us take an example and try to understand it. So in our example, the array contains 4, 2, -3, 1 and 6. Okay, so here we are at ith index 0. The element at 0th index is what? 4, and right now the DP is empty. Okay, so clearly sum is 4 and 4 is not there in the dictionary, so we are going to make an entry of 4 and we are going to set it as true. Now we are at index I equals to 1, so now we are here, and a of 1 is 2, so sum becomes 6, and clearly 6 is not there, so we are going to make an entry over here. In this particular case, I equals to 2 and a of 2 is -3, so sum becomes 3 here, right? Since 3 is not there in the DP, so this becomes true. All right, now comes the I equals to 3. Okay, so now we are at 3rd position, and a of 3 is what? 1, so s becomes 4. All right, so since 4 is already there in the dictionary, see this entry is already there in the dictionary, so we know that there exists, so we know that we are able to get a subarray which would be this particular subarray in our case, for which there exists a subarray whose sum is 0, so we are going to return true in this particular case. Okay, so that's about the explanation part. Now let us look into the code. Let me jump into the coding section and submit our solution. So the code is pretty simple and it goes something like this. So sum equals to sum dictionary. We created a sum dictionary. Initially the sum is 0. For element, we are iterating on the elements and we are adding all those elements, so we are just computing the sum over here. If sum equals to 0 or the element itself is 0 or sum is in the dictionary, we are going to return true. Otherwise we are going to keep adding the sum in the dictionary, and if this particular case is not satisfied, then we are going to return false. Okay, so that's about the code part. Now let us submit our solution. So our code got accepted and all test cases are passed. So that's about the video, folks. If you have any questions or query related to this video, please feel free to use the comment section and I'll try to address them. Thank you.